Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here with the 5th episode of the Dancer DLC for Cultist Simulator. Now, I'll just say very quickly at the start, I am very sneezy today, but I also want to get the broadcast recorded. And I know people have opinions about what is easy to do and what is not easy to do. I don't have a mute button because of the way my setup is made, so I'm going to try not to sneeze into the microphone. This will affect the next 4 videos, but please just keep in mind there may be a few interruptions while I deal with physical life. I'm also delighted at the fact that a lot of you seem very excited for the dancer. So this is the first video I'm recording since I'm seeing the the responses to those videos. So I hope I will follow up on your confidence. So let's just take a quick look at where the state of the playthrough is. My benefactor, fresh colors. Tonight, my benefactor will prefer to see me in something new. I should buy something quickly. So we've got that taken care of. Now, we are going to need to beg for my job back at the Gaiety. That will probably require passion. But right now, I want to try and take advantage of, of the opportunities I have. I think this takes about a minute. So I could probably juggle... I could probably go back to the Cultist Club, to be honest, but maybe we'll leave that be for now, because I also need to remember what the story is with Garment Sundered. But yeah, what I'll probably do is I'll try and make the most of my opportunities with my 2 benefactors, and then we will get back to the Gaiety, because, I mean, it pays the bills, but it's certainly not as profitable as our other opportunities. We are currently exercising. I think this is because, this is an important one for me to remember, because I needed to turn all of this into lessons learned as quickly as possible. My dream slot I'm keeping open right now. I think that was in case I needed to use my health for something. At some point I should be going through the way of the wood, and then I don't have a whole lot for conversation right now, so we'll leave that be. Okay, and then I was just stacking up a bunch of books, so I think I have roughly an idea of where I was before. And coming up, we've got a Season of Ambition, so I believe the temptation here will be this is still level 1, right? This might actually move up 1 because I got the Garment Sundered. The ring you commanded, I bear my flesh, and I obeyed. I will not always obey the ring, you. Yeah, we'll see what happens in the Season of Ambitions, but I'll leave that be for now. I got lucky with a Course of the Heart, and I've chosen my attire well for the performance. My benefactor showers me with compliments and gifts. So that's 5 funds in my inventory. Now, one thing I'll say briefly about the UI, so I'm sure this is something that most of you have noticed, but I was doing a little bit of testing the other day, and I think I kind of identified where I'm really struggling with the screen. So before I'd started the stream, what I'd actually done, this is way back when the patch first came out, I did mess around with sort of the snap to grid. I think I might have even done that on the some of the recorded videos. But it's actually the same underlying problem. It's not the grid size that's the difficulty. What I personally struggle with is when you're moving the cards around, you can kind of see the shadow down below, but as you can see, there's sometimes a bit of a difference in terms of where the game's sort of paying attention to the card. You can kind of see how it's shifting around a little bit. And so the game will tell you where it sort of intends to place it. But of course, I don't necessarily want to, obviously taking the time here to sort of figure this out, especially because I can't exactly see where it is with regards to health. If you just take a little extra time, you can put it down. And the drawback is under the old system, you could kind of move it around, in kind of a zippy way, and sort of have it land on time. And if you wind up in situations like this, I think probably this can illustrate. Just sorry, I'm taking a second here to think about the. I think one card might be the best way to illustrate it. But if you notice here, right, the conditions under which it moves, they're not necessarily the most intuitive. and I believe if you go from, I was testing this out, I think if you go from the top right versus the top left, it can sometimes snap to some odd positions relative to where you think that they would be, particularly when you sort of move. Like this one in particular is a bit wild, and I suspect probably what's happening here is there's a difference from what the camera is looking at in your own sort of in. Like, so there's you, the player, you're looking down at the camera. This card is obviously above the table, and so I suspect there's probably something about the angle of view and basically where the game is sort of saying this is where the card lives versus what you're seeing. And I think the difference between the two, sort of the two patches sort of led to these, these differences. And again, there could be something about the speed at which I move the card around, because obviously the more I do this, the stranger it gets. Oh yeah, actually in that case, it didn't seem to match up at all. In any case, I took a minute here and I just sort of noticed that sort of the halfway point doesn't quite seem to be the best indicator to sort of snap into a different category. Now the drawback here is that I don't have a whole lot to add on that. In this case, this is just something I've sort of noticed in terms of my own interactions with the game and the difficulty that's been created from it. I don't know if I really want to spend that much time sort of fiddling around with the individual level of the card, but if you've been struggling a bit with the UI like I have, this might sort of help you sort of identify where the pain points are. And then obviously here, right, like this is kind of where I've translated into little, where I try to do little refinements here to deal with the up and kind of the bumpy top of my card placement. So if this works a bit better for you, if you're able to, once you're able to sort of see how, I guess kind of see how it works in the background, like how the fact that it, I don't know, that small demo I showed, if that happens to be the key to help you unlock your own encounters with the UI, I'm hoping that's useful. But in my case here, I think I'm taking a little while to get used to it. So, and like I said, I don't want to spend too much time talking about it because I'm perfectly capable of playing the game, even though it's different from what I remember. I just need a little time to recover my energies. Okay. So in my opinion, the best thing to do is make more money. I have basically 3 minutes before I need to worry about the contract at the Gaiety. So in this case, I think I'm just going to keep running with the health, and we'll add some funds. One thing I have noticed actually with the new UI system is I double click a lot more on my cards, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. Although I do really enjoy the process of sort of like pulling cards around. My benefactor would be delighted if I'd offer a private performance for a small and refined audience. They'll invite me to dinner afterwards, and of course offer suitable gifts in return for my time. Okay. I'm a little curious what happens here, so what hungers drive us? Coming up, we've got a season of despair, so if we wind up with a restlessness, I want to make sure that I deal with that. That would actually be a good time for me to consider the contract at the Gaiety, but even then it may be too late. And I'm just trying to think. So this is a lesson learned. We'll get a lesson of vitality out of here, and so I think we should move on the upgrade. Oh, here we go. The temptation of change. I long to be something else, but have I learnt the lesson I need before the witnesses I must have? My own heart pumps more strongly today. And I am refreshed. And then this probably finished a while ago, but here we've got the Viennese Conundra. So this is one that I can read right away. Should probably organize this a little bit better. So essays and poetry, I think, are going to get their own section in the library. And I think in this case I'm willing to spend a little more money on the... Actually, sorry, I should take a minute here and put this in locations. So again, we've got quite a bit of money and I want to take advantage of that now, so it takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, and the blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I'll find something interesting. The Mystique, I'm hoping that I just drain down on its own. I'd rather not have to deal with the Suppression Bureau yet. Tonight my benefactor is full of energy. I should be too. I can't remember if that's 2 health down or just the 1. We'll find out in a second, though. I long to be something else, but have I learnt the lesson that I need to have before the witnesses I must have? Okay, same text. After the performance, I am flushed and I am perspiring, but my benefactor seems to like that. They've brought me a glittering little something. So 5 funds to show for my trouble, and we'll throw this into the into the dream slot for recovery. So we've got about 2 minutes for the gaiety. I think in this case we'll take one more trip to Nicole, the 4th Marchioness of Stanford, and then we'll see what we need to do to get back at the gaiety. My benefactor would be delighted if I'd offer a performance for a small and refined audience. They'll invite me to dinner afterwards, and of course offer suitable gifts in return for my time. I am ready to grow stronger. Okay, and actually we got a lesson learnt out of that, so I am actually further along on this than I thought I would be. So let's take the expiring vitality first. We'll combine these. I am a Briven with vitality. If I devote some time to exercise, I'll benefit, and then we will use that with our hardened physique. It'd be nice to go even higher, but in this case, this is my main money maker, so we'll take care of my health. And we've got Apollo and Marsyas. Now, I would like to start reading these books at some point, but for the time being, I'm going to collect them. And what's happened here? Oop, I moved the. So again, my suspicion here is that this is the collection for the verbs that emerge, but I believe if you put the field above the verb, it covers it, so you can't access it. I shuck my husk to grow. Here's the moon, and here am I in its eye. So I tremble when the wind comes. The veins beneath my surface are apparent. I always carry a bead of malachite next to my skin. This card will allow you to win a change victory if you upgrade it far enough. Devote enough of your effort to your dances, and you'll find the next step. So aspect the forms of change. Each time I change, I leave something behind. And aspect old form. I am coming to know a dance that began in the sodden forest of the first continent. Okay, Season of Suspicion. So this mystique is going to be a liability, sadly. I don't think I have any way of getting rid of it, though. I don't have anybody dedicated to horror. Well, I actually don't even have a cult. So I think I'm just going to have to take my lumps. We'll leave the health be for now, but it's clear that I need to get things sorted out with the gaiety. We'll have enough time with Lord Timothy. All right, Diaries. So this is in Latin. Now I do have Gildersleeves, so I can learn, but as I said, we're gonna take advantage of our financial comfort to try and invest in ourselves. Well, we're not really investing in ourselves right now. Instead we're making we're accumulating the books, much like I do in real life. Tonight I danced and I laughed and I was charming with my benefactor and delightful with our guests. Everyone is happy and I have a little something enough to live on for a good while. And I don't actually think I had to do anything for this, so 5 funds without the extra time is very welcome. All right. So let's try and line these up a little bit better. So I've got a little over 2 minutes with Lord Timothy Monday. And in this case, I've missed too many performances. If I plead convincingly enough, I might get my job back. So that's passion. Now that's half my passion available. So I am going to try and provoke some glimmering where I can. But again, it's a question of how do I go about this? What's a good way for me to get the ball rolling, sort of the same way that we did with the vitality? So I need my job back. I'll tell them I'll be different this time. Perhaps they'll understand. So good news is that's only 30 seconds. Good enough. And we're ready to grow stronger. So let's take our hardened physique. 3 lessons learned. That does mean we're basically giving up this vitality here, but I can live with that. I will grow stronger yet. I found something noteworthy. Alright, so we've got guard sides as well. So I'm going to start moving the locations off to the side because I've got a few too many books now. Not a bad problem to have, but it does require a little more organization. And I think we're just going to keep doing the same trick. Again, I've got a lot of money, so being able to... at the very least being able to lay these foundations and then take advantage of whatever opportunity comes up is, I think, a little bit better than just watching the funds sort of drain over time. I didn't beg, not quite. Okay, so I've got 2 minutes for the gaiety, so it probably wouldn't be bad to get back to that routine. I think I used to have a routine going where I'd sort of do contract at the gaiety, benefactor, contract at the gaiety, benefactor, and sort of ping between those. So in this case, Lord Timothy Monday's the one. Whoa! Not quite what I wanted there. So we'll continue with that pattern for now. And then, again, we'll see how it turns out. It does mean that I don't do activities at the Igdices Club, but it's also fair to say that I've kind of used... I think I've used what I can in terms of those performances for the time being. My benefactor would be delighted if I offer a private performance for a small and refined audience. They'll invite me to dinner afterwards, and of course offer suitable gifts in return for my time. Clouds part, the wolf despair prowls elsewhere. No dread empowers this despair. It's over for now. So this is one of these cases where I could try and use it as an input again. In this case, I'm a little more reluctant to do so, and it's not necessarily just... in this case, we've got the Season of Ardors, so it's more likely that we'll wind up with a contentment. But what makes me a little less inclined to try this is I don't have an immediate benefit for anything that I can get from my fleeting reminiscence. I'm also trying to remember if I can do anything with... yeah. Found a mystical organization. Here is someone I might work with, a companion or a follower, but first I must give them something to follow. A society, a sodality, an order, a cult. I have begun my true work. The authorities will take an interest in it. I must be ready for them. You've begun to establish your cult. You will need a little more before you can recruit followers. I forgot it was... for some reason I thought you got a mystique instead of a notoriety, so I was a little too early on that. Establish the Wildwood Club, an occult society dedicated to chaos and the unexpected hours. That's fine. We'll live with it. Found something noteworthy. The burning of the unburnt god. And as usual, we'll combine everything. Now, having a notoriety, well, I suppose that'll just generate a... actually, yeah, I gotta remember if this could just generate a hunter on its own, and it may not eat the notoriety, in which case that's even more dangerous. Someone is meddling. Alright, we've got the weary detective. This gentleman would much rather be left alone with his pipe and his illustrated London news. But no, apparently some conjurer of abominations has to be hunted down like a mad dog, and apparently no one else can find the time. Alright, the hour we serve demands our passions. Demands that our passions are as devoted to its purpose. I must give of myself. Now, in 4 seconds, I think we'll figure out whether or not that's a good idea for me to give that up right now. Hey, another course of the heart. Alright, tonight my benefactor will prefer to see me in something new. I should buy something quickly. There we go. And stronger yet, I could carry a man across a river, or strangle him. Now this surprises me a little bit that there's so much extra vitality kicking around here, so we're well on our way to our next lesson learned. So in this case we've got, 3, we'll get 4 here, so that's 2 lessons learned. I believe we need 4 to move up? Yes. I also believe that we would need... Well, actually, I think we just need an aspect. I don't think we need to go the full... I don't think we need to have more than just the basic level, which gives me a good reason to be reading more of these books, to be honest. So, I'll be honest with you, I would have preferred to use my study verb for something else, but seeing as we do have this vitality, let's make the most of it. Long walks kill cobwebs. And Traveling at Night Volume 2. So I'll order everything around when I can, but... Sorry, I realize this is basically shopping day, but we're doing pretty well. I've chosen my attire well for the performance. My benefactor showers me with compliments and gifts. Okay, so let's not push our luck with the Gaiety Theatre. The stage awaits, hot and clean and bare and bright. If I move the moves and step the steps and do what is required, they'll pay me. Ah. Some days are better than others. Sometimes the sky is nothing like a filthy sheet. Sometimes the river runs clear. Okay, we're still waiting on this vitality here. So Season of Sickness coming up, that does give me a reason to... so obviously I can potentially use some of the vitality here, but that would be a shame to lose it. And a cult with only one member is only an unusual habit. I must have a recruit. So Eldridge is the obvious option here. And Kittling Ripe and the Moldy Warp's Grave and Other Stories. So as always, continuing to fill up on books as long as the money holds out. So I want to keep an eye on Nicole because we're running out of time there and she's starting to get tired of us. I am refreshed. And where were we? Alright, our rise begins. I founded my cult. This is a step to a greater power. Use your cult to recruit and promote followers. Talk with your followers about your cult to send them on cult business. So, this is... So, obviously, founding the cult is an important step, but there's actually a detail that's important to this as well. So, I think... we can put that beside my change. It doesn't quite follow the convention that I was looking for, but I'll work with it. Eldridge has almost learned not to pick his teeth with his knife in conversation. He has not yet learned to leave his knife in his boot. So one of the reasons why the cult is particularly helpful here is that I've been leaving the talk verb open. That's not necessarily the best, kind of the best way for me to handle handle all of my verbs. My tendency is to kind of want to always have something ticking, something going by. And so in this case here, I do have the option of talking about things like the barber's warning and, just trying to get more people around, particularly because the Weary Detective is active. Now, there is the worry about the notoriety, but even then, if we have a Season of Suspicion coming up, it's probably better to have some more, mystique running around to try and cover us. Now, the better option would be the risk that I have at the moment with the Wildwood Club, which I'll read the description of at the moment, or in a second, is that continuing to provoke moth will potentially generate restlessness. Now, restlessness can be used at the Gaiety. So tonight I sense opportunity. Tonight I could attract attention if I cease to hold back, if I commit myself more fully. So the extra effort can take the form, I believe it should, in this case it says ability or restlessness. So I believe in this case here you can put health, passion, or restlessness. I think if you try and put reason inside, it doesn't do anything. apparently interpretive dance doesn't quite work at the Gaiety. But now, so I do have sort of a way of dumping the restlessness, but you can sort of see how in this particular case, using a fragment that will tend to generate a lot of restlessness can be something that will sort of overwhelm me with dread and have, potentially have some consequences. So this is why I was a little reluctant to do that. But on the other hand, the idea of getting some more people in the cult, some more fans, let's say, would be preferable to me. Also, I forgot that I had a convention that I was working on here, so. All right, so with that in mind, let's start talking about esoteric matters right away. Talking publicly about the invisible arts will attract attention. Perhaps that's what I want. And the Wildwood Club, an occult society dedicated to chaos and the unexpected hours. So we won't read the description here, but it does aspect society to recruit believers. I must build something for them to believe. And Veneration Moth. This organization venerates the principle called Moth, which we call upon in the name of the Moth himself and the Witch and Sister, among others. Okay, and in this case... So I believe I will need a passion when this event comes up, so I'm going to use health. I am a listen package of flesh and blood. Tonight, they'll notice that. We also have the dream slot available to restore the health. All right, I've neglected my studies, but I stand a little straighter. So again, some of this vitality may wind up sort of sacrificed for the sickness. I needed it's 4 lessons learned, so that would mean 8 vitality, and I've got 5 at the moment, so. Long walks kill cobwebs. Obviously, we're relying on A Course of the Heart to get us through the end. I felt all eyes upon me. Afterwards, I received a gift from an admirer. Too gaudy for my taste, but I can sell it on the second-hand market. Now, how many funds was that? Okay, 2, so that's not too bad. But I do need to make sure that I deal with my my other job. My benefactor would be delighted if I'd offer a private performance for a small and refined audience. They'll invite me to dinner afterwards, and of course offer suitable gifts in return for my time. So there's a small worry that I might run out of passion, but I think the timers work out in my favor here. Okay, Latin Orchid Transfigurations. And we will return to Moorlands. Takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I'll find something interesting. And we've got a free turn coming up, so I should try and take advantage of that where I can. Although I mean, I'm at the point now where I'm using up everything, so I may not have too many options. We'll see where it goes. And I think I'm going to have to make some hard choices with my vitality pretty soon. I am refreshed. Okay. This is good. I definitely needed that health. Nope. Okay, so one's taken up here, one's being used... Right, oh, actually this is too hard. Right, but health has too hard aspect. So I think what's going to have to happen here is I'm going to need to combine one of these into a lesson learned. We can use this vitality in the Season of Sickness. I think that's going to be how I handle it. If I wanted to combine it all into lessons learned, that boat already sailed. I found something noteworthy on the white. And of course, all of these books are going to be collected until I've got my things leveled up, until I've got my skills leveled up. And that's going to include, again, I want to get my passion up higher. Just the vitality opportunity was too good to pass up. My benefactor, inventiveness. Tonight my benefactor would be pleased by inventiveness, enthusiasm, brio, passion. So in this case, this will likely provoke a magnet for passion. Not good if it gets pulled out here, but we've got 4.3 seconds and this will be in 4.8, so I don't need to worry too much about the timings. But I do believe we wound up with some staleness as a result. No, we found another mentor. Interesting. Or a patron. We can learn from each other. All right, and on that note, we will leave a degree of mystery as to who the mentor is. So, overall, again, this is, you can kind of see where the foundations are being built. Obviously, a lot of books. We're still well above where I would normally be in terms of funds, so that's working out well for me. Should probably be a little more organized with my vitality. I will admit, I was a little surprised by the extra vitality that comes from the upgrade. I didn't really think that happened, and it's possible that that may be an unintended effect, or that may just be something that's different. But I'll take advantage of it for sure. So a little more time spent on improving my character overall, but I think in this case it's something that just winds up, leaving me from having to do that in the future. So I also don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. But moving forward, I will still essentially I'll try and milk the benefactors for all they're worth. I do want to try and get my lore up. In fact, here's one for you to maybe think about in between sessions if you are inclined to ponder the mysteries of Cultist Simulator. I am actually going to be trying to go for some Grail lore first. And there's a specific reason why I would like to do that, and it's maybe unexpected given the legacy that I'm playing. But if you're inclined to these kinds of guesses, or maybe if you just don't already know the answer right now, you can maybe ponder on why Grail lore would be particularly desirable for me in this current state of the game. But until then, you can obviously leave that in the comments, or otherwise, you can leave any comments in the well, maybe not any comments, but I do like reading the comments. And of course, if you are so inclined, please do feel about leaving a like or on the videos. They do help the videos get noticed. And of course, if you've not done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel, because again, that does help the channel grow and get the word out. I should also briefly mention there may be a small interruption to the videos in the oncoming week, I think, from when this video is coming out. But I'm not 100% certain on the details. My usual way of handling stuff like that is to just put a small announcement video on the YouTube channel if it's kind of something that happens in between recording and when the videos are coming out. And finally, thank you very much for watching. I realize this ending's a little sort of toppling over itself, but I'm still getting back into the scheme of things, and today's been a weird day. So I hope you all have a good evening. I will be back day after tomorrow for Wednesday's episode. Until then, take care. See you in the next one.